This is the House of Hockey podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. Hockey is more than a game, it's a lifestyle. It's you, the diehard supportive fans, your favorite players who are on the team you cheer for and the organization who supports them.
The companies that make your gear, bags, and beer league sweaters. The hockey moms and hockey dads and everything else that makes this House of Hockey your home. Come on in. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Rae Rae.
And this is our house.
Welcome to the House of Hockey podcast. This is episode 43. I'm one of your hosts, Rae Rae.
And I'm your other host, Breezy.
And this week we have two guests on. We have the two hosts of the Slapshot Sweethearts Podcast.
We do.
That's Megan and Shannon. It's two awesome hockey babes who teamed up to talk hockey. And we talk to them and we talk about the upcoming season, what they love about hockey, what they plan to talk about. Their podcast actually is already out, their debut episode. But we love talking to other women who want to talk hockey. So we were like, yeah, we got to talk to these girls.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because you'll get to know their teams and how it's very weird that they're still friends, considering they are fans of rivalry teams. But yeah, they were fun to talk to. It was really cool. It was really fun and down to earth. And we got to talk about The Bachelor, which is like my favorite thing to talk about, apparently.
Oh, yeah. We went hard on The Bachelor. And then
we did.
You and Megan went hard on The Bachelor. Shannon and I went hard on the NFL and the differences between the NHL and the NFL. We got like really serious about it.
Yeah.
So
she's so good at like sports talk. It is insane. I was sitting there and I was like, I know nothing about the NFL, but hey, keep on preaching us. I mean, I'm always down to learn a thing or three. So
thing or three. I like that.
It's a very like New Orleans thing to say. Have you not seen that guy on TikTok?
No, I don't do the TikTok. Come on.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I get sucked into TikTok for hours on end. It's so dumb.
Well, I love a New Orleans guy, so I support that.
Yeah, he always goes, "Hey, Kuya, I'm about to learn you a thing or three." And you're like, I like that.
Okay. We do have to, before we get into our segments and our talk this week, we recorded the interview with the Slapshot Sweethearts. The day before the Zdeno Chara news broke that he was signing with the Washington Capitals and not returning to the Bruins. So just FYI, when we're talking about it, that decision hadn't been made. But
I still think what we had said is still very factual. So
oh yeah, very, very applicable. I saw some like GIF or meme or something on Instagram with the Washington Capitals having like all of the oldest players in the league, like in like an old folks' home setting with their heads like photoshopped because they've got now, Zdeno, and Ovechkin's getting up there.
16th season in the NHL. That's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting move. I think it says that the Washington Capitals are giving it their all this year, one more time. They're going big. Or they just want to have the clout to say that they had all these all-star players on their team for a season. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about it?
I mean, it's like when you play like the NHL. I play NHL 19 on Xbox, but it's like a golden rule that like you can't pick the all-star teams because they just destroy. Like you're done. Like you can't play an all-star team. It just doesn't work. But it's kind of like that, I guess. You just have all these all-stars and big names on the team and veterans that should be able to deliver for them. But I don't know. Will they work together? I don't know. You never know.
You never know. It's going to be a wild card of a season all around, I think, anyway.
Yeah,
so
it is.
There's some Blackhawks news. Dylan Strome was signed to a 2-year, $6 million contract. So that happened. Matt Barzal, my hunk, there's news about him. He hasn't, as of we're recording this, signed a new deal with the New York Islanders yet. He's a restricted free agent, but they're still working that out. He didn't, go to camp yet because he hasn't officially, figured that out. But I was like, oh, how cool would it be if we got Barzy on the Blackhawks instead of this Strome contract? I know like that it doesn't work that way because they're restricted, but like I just like wishful thinking. I was like, oh my God, I could have my two ultimate hockey hunks on my team. Like I would lose it. Like I would definitely get a Barzal jersey then. Like
yeah, you would.
For sure. Anyway.
You would. I'm surprised you don't have like his shirt or something. Not a fan.
I can't wear Islanders colors.
Oh, what if it's black? You could do something that's a black shirt.
No.
Oh, no. All right. Well,
I can't do it. It's Griswold and no name. Red. Keeping it simple. Is there anything else hockey you want to talk about before you tell me this really crazy story that you have to tell me?
I don't think so. My mind has been so boggled by this thing that had happened to me the other day that I haven't been able to think of anything else.
Okay, hit us with it.
It's insane. Okay, so I was driving home from work on the freeway, and I'm driving like whatever direction the sun sets. Don't ask me. I'm terrible with directions. So I'm driving like towards the sun, and I see and my nephew's driving next to me in the car with his girlfriend. So I'm like, okay. And like, I'm kind of like just, cruising along, and I see this thing in the sky, like a vapor trail, but it's coming down like a weird direction, like a downward direction. And like, it looks weird. Like it's like two vapor trails together. Okay. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I was like, that's weird. So I'm driving, and all of a sudden, like it's lower, like it like sped up. And I'm like, what the heck is that? So I'm like frantically trying to like call my mom to see, like, go outside. But of course she doesn't answer because she never answers her phone. I don't even know why she even has a phone. And I'm like looking around, like everyone's just driving, minding their own business. Like, how do you not see this thing falling out of the sky? Like something's falling out of the sky. And you can tell like it's something with like, it almost looks like flames on both sides of it. Like it looks like a little bean with like, that's like falling from the sky. What is going on? I'm trying to get my nephew's attention. No one's even knowing what's going on. So finally I get my dad on the phone. I was like, something's falling out of the sky. Run outside right now. So they take a picture of it. And then I get home and I'm able to still like kind of see it. So I take a picture of it. So I'm like, what is this? It's definitely a fireball. It is a fireball that is coming down in the sky, whatever it was. So I'm searching. In my town, there's like a Crime Stoppers, there's a paranormal thing, and everyone posts all the time. So I'm like on all these Facebook groups, like trying to search up to see if anyone's posting about this thing that just fell out of the sky. Nothing. I'm Googling it. Nothing. It's not on the news. Nothing. How did nobody see this thing?
Literally, don't know what it is.
If I didn't take pictures of it, people would think I'm crazy. But I'm like showing everybody. They're like, whoa, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. And then my nephew's like, oh yeah, we saw it, but we thought it was a rocket coming out of Vandenberg because we can see those from here. And I'm like, no, it's not. So my sister finally was able to find on like some international meteorite fireball website. It was a meteorite fireball.
What?
Or meteor, whatever it is. Yes. But then it was like reported, like people like reported like, yes, I saw it. Yes, I saw it. Yes, I saw it. So like, it'll do it. Like it was in China. It was, people saw it in England, New York, Maine, Kansas, North Carolina, like Sacramento, Santa Barbara. But like people just like did like check marks, like they pinned that they saw it, but like no one, there's no pictures. How did like usually the news would report this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then my mom sends the thing to my aunt, and my aunt's like, oh, like let me look at it because she lives up in San Francisco. She found an article on something, and it happened the same exact time, the same exact date, 2 years ago. Did I time travel?
You might have.
It is the weirdest thing.
You can like see into other dimensions sometimes.
Yes, but like nobody else really saw it, and I have pictures of it. And it's like, how did this happen the same exact date, same exact time, 2 years ago? 2020, 2018.
I don't know. I mean, I'm inclined to believe that it was a meteor or meteorite or whatever.
Whatever it is, a fireball, whatever.
Not the drink. Like,
Not the drink. No, definitely.
like,
And I was not drinking that night, by the way.
I
I
believe
was
you.
coming home from work.
Like, you're saying like fireball, like in a movie, like about space aliens, you see like a
Yes.
giant burning
Right.
fire
That's kind of
ball.
what it looked like. I'm going to send you the picture. It's on
Okay.
my mom's phone. And if you zoom in on it, and she has an iPhone 7, so it takes horrible, horrible photos.
Okay.
But you can clearly see, and if you zoom in, you can clearly see it's like a little bean with like fire coming out of both sides.
Holy crap. Now, are you sure it's not like from, what did you say, Annenberg? Is that like a space, like a Navy military
Vandenberg.
base?
Yeah,
Vandenberg.
Vandenberg. Yeah.
Okay. Like it
No,
really
it
could be
wasn't.
that. Okay.
It was not. Because we've
Okay.
seen rockets come in before. They do these weird like things in the sky. This was straight up.
Holy shit, dude.
I know. And I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm a conspiracy theorist, like through and throughout. Like I'm going on a road trip next weekend to go look for UFOs. Like I'm hardcore conspiracy. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, how did nobody I time travel? I'm pretty sure I had to have. How do you
Well,
explain that?
I don't
I guess
know.
I know we've probably lost so many people by this story, but I'm just sitting here like, how did not more people see this thing? And like, why was I like one of the lucky ones that like got to see? Like, also, if that really was, how cool is that? That is so rare to even see.
Oh yeah, I've never seen a meteor or like a
And
meteor
like we
shower
see,
or anything.
yeah, it was crazy. I'm gonna send you the photo.
Okay, send us the photo. We're going to post it on our social media so everybody can weigh in on what they think it is and maybe help
Yeah,
provide some relief to you about what you saw.
it's crazy. It's so crazy. I get like all like worked up about it. I'm like, what
I
the
can
heck?
tell. This is just a regular unpopular opinion, going to keep it timely this week.
Yeah,
I do not believe in setting New Year's resolutions. I think they are a horrible idea. I think they set people up for failure because you set this like unrealistic goal for yourself with no follow through or steps of action or plan. And then you put all this pressure on yourself and then you freak yourself out. And then when you're not doing it, and after like 5 days you failed, then you see yourself as a failure. And then you just never want to do whatever the thing was that you said you were going to do because you failed at it. So I
right.
don't do New Year's resolutions. I just live my life every day. I just try to focus on getting through every day as a good human being. That's all I got for you guys.
That's all you got.
I don't believe in any of that, like doing a cleanse or sober January. Like
No.
you know what? For me, no. If that makes you feel better, great, go ahead. But like then you go hard in February and you're fucking shit faced all the time and you deplete all the work you just did. So what is the point? Like what is the actual point of you doing that then? You know, if you want to like if your goal is to be healthier, okay, that I could get behind, like generally, you know.
Yeah.
No. It's just another day for me. It's just another day.
Yeah.
What
Just
about
another
you?
day. Yeah, no, I'm kind of on the same boat with you. I'm very California right there. Yeah, no. Dumb.
It's the fireball.
It's the fireball. It's still in my head. No, I think you do set yourself up for failure on one of those things. I mean, I was like, maybe I will set one for myself this year. And I was like, maybe I just want to like be outside and like watch every sunset in 2021. Maybe take a photo of it. That'd be really cool. Well, guess what? I remembered that was what I told myself I was going to do. And then now we're a few days into the new year and I haven't watched a single sunset. So I've already failed.
Right.
So, but other than that, I think I just kind of have mental notes, like be more in the moment, but it's not usually like it's not a resolution, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless you do count that as one. I don't know.
And you don't have to do it at the beginning of the year. You can choose at any point in your life, at any day, at any time to make a change in your life. And you don't have to proclaim it on the internet. And you don't have to proclaim it on New Year's Eve when you're shit-faced anyway. Most people are. And then you wake up New Year's Day and you're like, oh, why did I decide to do that?
Why did I say that? Because now everyone's going to say, hey, I thought that this is what you were going to do. And you're like, you don't know my life.
Yeah. I mean, there's some truth and some results in having an accountability partner, right? Or like proclaiming it to somebody who you know is really going to hold you to whatever goal you're trying to set in a positive way, not in a like, oh, did you do your fucking picture today, Breezy? You know, like, oh, you're such a loser. You didn't do it, you know, like you got to find the right person to do that. But
exactly.
I'm more of the like, I'm not going to tell everybody what I'm working on. I'm just going to do it. And then you'll either just notice a change or you won't notice a change. Like, that also works too, guys.
It does. It really does. Breezy's barbecue pit. It's been a little wild on Breezy's barbecue pit, not going to lie. I had a new recipe that I tried out. I did a Nashville hot chicken wing with a maple syrup glaze. That was bomb.
Sounds delicious. How were they received?
But pretty good. Pretty good.
We've got to start doing like a rating system. Like how many forks? Like 5 forks is the top fork.
Ooh.
How many forks does that get?
It was pretty darn good. I might have to give that a nice 4 forker.
Ooh.
It was really good.
And then you had a massive brunch as well.
Oh my God. Yeah. So my friend Kelly and I, we are massive foodies, as you know. We like trying weird things. Like we are the 2 friends in our friend group that will like go to like a random restaurant and like order a few things and like just try like whatever sounds good, right? So she was over the other night. We were playing a game because we were both bored and we see each other all the time. We were still safe. Proclaim that. So she had a great idea to make a cornbread waffle. And a cornbread waffle. My dad is notorious for making big like Belgian waffles. So we of course made him make it for us. So it was a cornbread waffle. And this is where it's going to get real heavy and real Southern. So bear with us. Perfect hangover food. Cornbread waffle with a hash brown, with chicken fried steak, with a fried egg, and country gravy.
Oh my God.
It was heavy.
That sounds heavy. And how many forks did that meal get?
I feel like personally I would have wanted the because you can't do a straight cornbread waffle. You have to mix it with pancake mix or else it doesn't cook right. Mm-hmm. So I think that it should have had a little bit more cornbread flavor to it but it was a sweet waffle, so it was good. So with a minor little tweak, it was a little heavy. I think I might maybe take off the egg and maybe the hash brown. I don't know. I'm gonna give it probably a solid 3.5 forks.
All right. Needs some work.
Yep.
You know, I don't ever shut the front door. I'm feeling, no, I'm fine. Like I'm fine.
You're fine.
I'm fine with all the things. Nothing's really set me off lately.
Did you meditate this morning? Or did you have a nice therapy session last week that you're just chill now?
No, therapy's tomorrow.
Okay.
Our podcast is proud to be on the Hockey Podcast Network, and the network is home to many other incredible podcasts, including this one.
Did you know that your favorite band also loves your favorite hockey team? If you love hockey and you love music, you're going to love Bar Down Breakdown, a podcast that explores the crossover between alternative music and the sport we love, hockey.
Every NHL player wants to be in a band, and every band guy wants to be a pro athlete.
With guests from all over the globe, come along with us as we interview some of the most captivating names in alternative music and talk about why we love hockey and how it's influenced us.
You know, there was for a few seconds, a thought of like, well, maybe we should wear Montreal jerseys, and the NHL was like, I think you should stay neutral. And we're like, yeah, you know what, you're probably right.
So tune in every Tuesday on the Hockey Podcast Network, where we'll have a brand new guest and a unique look into the bridge between hockey and music.
We are super excited to bring on Megan and Shannon, the host of the brand new podcast, Slapshot Sweethearts. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Of course. So how did you guys meet?
We went to college together and ended up in the same sorority. So that is the start to our budding friendship. And, you know, not always easy to find females who like hockey.
Especially at a sorority.
Yeah, I was known as the person in our sorority that was watching football scores at chapter every Sunday. So it was pretty easy that I was known as the sports person and Meg was known as the hockey person. So in terms of the 90 people in our sorority, it kind of narrowed down quickly.
Rather convenient.
Yeah. So tell us your teams and then tell us how that dynamic works. Like your NHL teams, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I'm Team Jacob, so
Yeah.
I am a Penguins fan. I also dabble in Vegas because my guy Fleury, but definitely Pens are my number one.
So I'm a diehard Bruins fan, but my boyfriend is a Flyers fan, so I do follow them pretty diligently, even though I don't support them. I would say in terms of the Boston, Philly sports teams, I support the Flyers the most out of the Sixers, Eagles, all of those. So I can get behind the Flyers from their players. Their branding is fantastic, all of those. So,
and they're not really a threat, so like it's fine.
And gritty. Like, I mean, I like
yeah,
gritty.
of course.
I mean, I feel like that's the exception to my fandom for the Flyers. That's about as far as it goes.
Yeah, he's got a gritty shirt in our closet and I steal it all the time.
Are you two heated when you have hockey discussions? Like when you play each other, how does that work? Do you keep that off the table altogether? Is there like a code of silence agreement or what?
You know, as of late, the Penguins and the Bruins haven't had too much controversy. I think back in like 2013 when the Bruins were in the Stanley Cup final, it was much more heated because both of our teams were pretty much on the high. But right now, obviously the Bruins are on the high, but the Penguins are kind of climbing their way back up. So
we're rebuilding. We're in a rebuilding period.
So it's less controversial now.
I mean, for the Pens to be rebuilding, I feel like they're still pretty successful.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they're no Red Wings, but like,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. So
yeah,
how did you guys get in?
Both mutually, since we went to oh sorry,
no,
went to
go for
college
it.
in DC, so like it kind of helps to have like I like keep like cutting out my internet. It's not the best, but yeah, we both went to college in DC, so like a mutual no to the Caps also helps.
Yeah, there's no capital support here between Breezy or I. I'm a Blackhawks only fan, and Breezy's got her 3 teams. So
it's growing though because Carly Zucker and we have a fan club, and you can have more than one team. It's fine.
That's right, because she's now a Penguins wife there with Jason. She is. Yeah.
And so now I was able to support Jason on her most recent post. So that was fun.
Isn't that funny? We're
really welcoming.
Yeah, we all feel so connected in the hockey community. Is that been your guys' experience as far as like being fans and starting your podcast?
Yeah, I would say for Belly Up Sports, I'm the department head for the NBA department as well. And NBA Twitter is ruthless compared to hockey Twitter. Hockey Twitter is like a nice family. They just want to get to know each other, all of that. NBA Twitter is a literal war zone that like is pleasant maybe 2 hours a day, like maximum.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're definitely lucky that people have been receptive.
Good.
Definitely.
So what is it about hockey that you guys love so much and that you decided, like, how did you get into hockey and following it and loving it? I mean, I know, Shannon, you said at the beginning, you know, you were the football, like all the sports girl. But how did you guys narrow down to your love of hockey?
Yeah, so I actually grew up right in Foxborough where the Patriots play, and then that's right in the middle between Boston and Providence. So obviously the Bruins play in Boston, and their AHL team plays in Providence. So I used to go to Providence games pretty often because they're obviously cheap. I didn't really care for a while, and then I went with one of my best friends in middle school, high school, to a game, and we were right on the ice. Matt Frazier like tossed a broken stick over. We were just freaking out. We completely fell in love. And then from there, it was right in 2013, right before their playoff run started. And I absolutely fell in love with hockey. And I watched almost every game until I left for college from there, and then just completely fell in love with sports after that. But it originally started with hockey.
I got it from my dad. My dad grew up right in Pittsburgh. So it was always something he like dabbled in. He wasn't like a diehard, but he's like very Pittsburgh proud. So
is there anybody
kind of, like,
not Pittsburgh proud from Pittsburgh though?
Not at all. Like everyone's just so into it, and I love it. Like I love the camaraderie. But he kind of like brought it down to me, and as I kind of started getting older, I got more into sports. Like I played sports my whole life. Like I was very athletic as a kid, and it just like really grew on me. And I picked up the Penguins, and like not a hard team to pick up being a fan of, because it's really easy to have someone good to root for, which like everyone calls me a bandwagon fan because they're like, oh, Pittsburgh, they're good, you just root for them. I'm like, no, this is in my blood, this is my birthright. But I just always stuck. And like as I got into college, like being where the Caps are, like the Pens and Caps play all the time, like I was at every playoff progression. Like every time they were in DC, I was like, Dad, I need to go to this game, like please help me out with these tickets, like I need this. And it just kept growing from there, which now I never turn back. I'll be in meetings and I'll have like game cast going if I have late calls. I'm like, okay, give me the play-by-play. Like I don't need everything to watch, but like I need to know.
So you guys obviously went to some games in your home arenas, and I'm assuming you just said you went to some games in DC. What other arenas have you guys visited, and do you guys have a favorite?
I've been to the Prudential Center a few times because I grew up in Jersey, which like added oddity to my team. But so yeah, I go to the Prudential Center. Like actually the last game I think the Pens had before COVID shut down, I had second row at the Prudential Center, and I was there for it. Which like that's my like going out on a high story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been there a lot. I've been to MSG because I'm a New Yorker, currently, kind of. So MSG is great. Like I love that atmosphere. Like, but I love getting booed too. Like I live for it. I'm like, give me some trouble.
That's funny.
Yeah, I've only been to the Garden in Boston and Capital One, actually, in terms of hockey. I've been to other football stadiums, but only those. And it's actually, I've been, I think, to more Bruins games in DC than I have in Boston. And it, like Megan said, it's really fun to get booed. The Bruins, just the games I've been to, have lost most of the times I've gone.
I don't have that problem.
Are you a Jinx, Shannon, or?
Well, the first time I went there, it was like I was a freshman in college, like I'm 18 years old, and it was a graduation present that someone said, oh, when you get down to DC, go see the Bruins. They were like nice tickets. There were clearly these season ticket holders behind us. We had scored the first goal, and then the Capitals scored like 5 goals after that. And this like creepy old man behind us leaned to me and my friend, and he was like, do you guys like need a Xanax? And I was like, sir? Like every time they scored a goal, he said something inappropriate, like, want a Xanax? Like, how you doing? And I was like, this is, I like being booed, but like, this is a little rough.
It's getting a little creepy.
Right.
Yeah. It's definitely different as when you're also like being like younger girls. They like don't always know how to act with you. So you're just kind of like,
they're like, oh, girls like hockey and you're young? Like
I always made it a point to try and wear heels. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to strut into this arena, and they're going to be like, oh, like, damn, that's a girl. Like, she's here.
She is here, and she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
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 You showed up.
Yeah. See, I'm like super anti-high heels. I don't want to fall down the stairs in any capacity. You see, yeah, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah,
Breezy, do you wear
Metro
heels?
Also,
Oh yeah, I wear my high heels all the time.
Do you even own a pair of high heels?
I don't think I've ever even put on a pair of high heels.
You're smart.
Actually,
Don't
that's
put
a
them
lie.
on.
That's a lie. I was 9 and I was forced to be in my sister's wedding, and she made me wear like small heels, and I hated that day with a passion.
Oh, well, my sister's getting married in September, and she bought me for Christmas heels for her wedding.
Oh,
So, a present for her. So I would wear the right shoes.
exactly.
But like, okay, free shoes. I'll take it.
Thanks, right? Yeah.
I was going through my shoes the other day and I found all the heels that I haven't worn since COVID started. And I was like, should I get rid of these? Like,
I had to wear a pair of heels the other day, and I was like, I don't know if I know how to walk in these anymore. Like, but I did, and everything was fine. But
I put my booties on and my boyfriend's like, you're wearing those out? I'm like, we're going to be fine. Like,
what's your guys' favorite hockey moment?
I was at a Bruins game. This is a little dark, but I was at a Bruins game with my friend, and her family had season tickets to the Bruins and the Red Sox. And she never really went because she wasn't into sports. And so she was like, oh, you're huge into hockey. I'll take you to a game for your Christmas present. So we go, and it's right after Christmas, and it's the game when Steven Stamkos broke his femur. And like 2 minutes before he broke his femur, she was like, is this like an interesting game? Like, is this like a good game? Because she didn't know. And I was like, yeah, this is like a pretty good game. It's like 1-1, like they're scoring goals. And then he broke his femur. And I was like, it's a good game now. And she was like, it's a good game. They're bringing out a stretcher. And I was like, yeah, it's a good game.
It is a little dark.
That's like,
right.
if I go to a game and I don't see an intense fight, like I get really angry.
Agreed.
Yeah, I get really angry when there's no like intense fighting or like anything.
I feel like we get.
Oh yeah, Tom Wilson is my boy.
Tom Wilson, I love him.
Yes.
So how do you feel about Brad Marchand then?
I don't dislike Brad. I mean,
Okay,
I think he's good for the sport.
Answer.
I think he's good for the sport. I definitely think like licking is a little strange, but
unless it's my dog, I don't really want to be licked. Like,
I felt like that was like really out there. I mean, I guess that's the point, to be really out there and wacko. But no, I like that. I like those. I hate calling them dirty players. They are, right? Like they do things that are not, up to
stir the pot, to annoy people. And, like, get in your head.
Yeah. But I think the game still needs that. So that's why I would say I support. I mean, I have no issue with Brad Marchand.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good answer because most people do.
Yeah. I hate and absolutely hate Nick Ritchie. The guy can kick rocks. He was a Duck, and I hated him as a Duck for obvious reasons.
The Bruins swap through like bottom line players faster than like I can Amazon shop. Like they can so it's hard to keep up.
Actually, all 4 of our teams have had quite the like up and down and back and forths with cups in the last decade, right?
Yeah.
Like we've all made really good team choices. I'm just gonna say
we're all like making moves.
Yeah. We've all got Stanley Cups. Some of us have multiple ones in the last 10 years.
Some of us have made consecutive ones.
Yeah, you do. Unfortunately,
I was saying on Twitter today, someone from Belly Up had shared. There was somebody that had like, oh, I used to play golf with Nick Saban, like chirping in their bio. And so he was saying like, what's the like funnest thing you did with a famous person that you're not going to put in your bio? And in 2019, when the Bruins played the Blues in Game 7 and lost, I was at this Boston bar in DC, and it's pouring out and there's no roof. So we're just standing there for 3 hours in the rain. But Luke Stone from The Bachelorette was like a foot away from me the entire time because he's a Boston fan. He lives in DC. He went to GW. And so the entire time we were trying to flirt with Luke Stone while the Bruins were losing.
Oh, no.
In this bar.
Yeah, I think Bruins fans would be like, excuse me, maybe that's why we lost. You should have been cheering for
we were down like 3-0, and I was like, all right, it's time to refocus my efforts.
So did it end up working? Obviously not.
It was the
winning.
week that his like bad episode came out where what's his name threw him under the bus, the psycho blonde
Jordan?
guy.
Wasn't it
what's
Jordan?
his name?
No, it's
You know what I'm talking about? The super muscular. He looks like Wolverine.
I don't
Oh my
watch the
gosh.
show.
Wolverine. Who
That's
looks
his
like Wolverine?
nickname. I know this because of some guy that Breezy tagged me in on Instagram from The Bachelorette.
Jason
Hannah, yeah.
Tartik.
No, the other one,
Best.
Brock.
I love Jason.
Brock? Blake.
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 Oh,
Blake.
yeah. I've met
Blake.
Blake. It's
What?
fine.
Oh.
Wait, hook a girl up. What?
Oh, it was. I went to like an event with the Betches. I don't know if you like.
Oh,
follow
you're
them on
talking
Instagram.
You're talking about Blake Horseman.
Yeah, the old Blake,
Yeah.
not the
Oh,
new.
no,
Old Blake.
I was
different
like-
one.
I tagged her the new Blake, but the old Blake is good too. I like Blake Horseman.
I'm partial to new Blake, but like that was just me.
The old Blake is very cute.
Is he
Yeah.
still single?
I think
Yeah.
so.
I don't know.
I don't know. He's
Well-
probably keeping his relationships under wrap after his terrible time in Paradise.
Oh,
Bachelor
see.
Nation uncovers everything though.
That is true. They do.
Wait, no, I'm talking about old Blake from
Yeah.
like Hannah B time.
Oh, I guess I mixed him up. Yeah, old Blake, not.
Yeah, not new
Oh.
Blunt like this season.
I haven't
No,
watched
not this season. I tagged Ray in a Blake photo from this season because he was like at home dressing, and
He, was-
Oh,
he
okay,
plays
yeah.
hockey, like putting
and he-
hockey gear on.
yeah, and it was a great photo. I'll just show
Yeah,
you
they've
guys.
had a ton of NFL players, but if they could get more hockey players on, that would be
Yeah.
really ideal.
I'd be more inclined to try and go on the show.
I'd be
For
more inclined to
sure.
watch.
I would want to watch, yeah.
I'll watch anyway.
I would be on it. Somebody's asked me that once. They were like, "Would you ever want to be on the?" Because like I live in LA. Obviously, Breezy does too. But like,
You guys live in LA. I was gonna ask that.
yeah. Where,
Okay.
Megan? You said you're in LA now, kinda, sorta.
I'm in LA temporarily. Like I work out of New York. Like I work New York hours still for my New York company. And yeah, it's fun. I'm waking up at 4:15 tomorrow. But yeah, I moved down here on a whim. So I'm hanging out.
Shannon, where are
There you
you?
go.
Still on the East Coast?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm from Boston, but I never moved out of DC. So I'm still living in Capitol Hill, just working. I work as a contractor for the DoD when I'm not doing sports stuff.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Well, yeah, I was saying I would definitely I would go on that show. Why not? Like, that's super fun. It would be so much fun. Just like have a
Yeah,
good time and look at hot guys or a guy. Wait, how does that work?
Dude.
One.
You'd be looking at one,
Right.
One.
That's
just
fine.
one guy. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Would you guys ever go on that
Professional
show?
party.
do.
No.
I would consider it.
I think I would be too jealous to go on when you compete for one person, but if I were the center of attention, then I would go on it.
So you would want to be
feel
Bachelorette.
okay.
Yeah.
I feel like just because of my sarcastic wit, I would make a really good villain.
Ooh.
You'd be like a Corinne.
I would exactly be Corinne.
You would be
I
Corinne.
Love her.
I do too, actually. She was so funny.
Pour one out for Corinne.
Yeah. Corinne.
I've
I would do it,
gotta-
but I only have water today.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you don't really go on that show looking for love. I mean, you tell the casting people and in your casting tapes that you want to find love.
But do
Um,
you?
Do I really?
I mean, they go after influencers. They go after like micro influencers
Yeah.
Right.
and like be like, do you want to do this? Like, do you want to maybe find love? And they're like, okay.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, because otherwise it doesn't make sense that Rachel Lindsay, the lawyer, went on The Bachelorette. Like,
Right.
True. I would rather get on the WAGs show, Wives and Girlfriends of Professional Athletes, because they've only had like one hockey player, and I don't even think the show's still on.
I don't
But I
know.
could totally be that hockey wife.
Megan, you would be the one I think that everybody would want to be friends with. Like, you would just be so much fun, and like they would all just want to like hang out with you just naturally, because like
I hope
any
so.
hockey player, wife or girlfriend, has to be down for like all the fun and not
Yeah.
Right,
necessarily as much drama.
I think I could do it.
I think you could too. That's a good job for you.
Mhm. All right, new
If
goal.
anyone's looking, I'm available. I am not tied down. I'm bi-coastal. I love the beach and wine and White Claw.
Shannon would have to discuss this with her boyfriend if she would be allowed to be the Bachelorette.
We've had discussions before, like, if you're going to be with this person, I'd allow it. If you're going to be with this person, I'd allow it. So I feel like if I was going to be a wag, we could probably allow it.
Could make it work.
You could get perks out of it, yeah.
Have a temporary hiatus. Anyway,
Yeah.
what do you guys think of the season, like, upcoming? What are your thoughts on the division restructuring and just, all the things that are happening now because of quarantine?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and we're going to talk about this on our episode Thursday too, but they're doing a Canadian division, obviously, because there are different laws. And the Canadian division is demanding a bubble. And I was curious, we were on a podcast a week or so ago when we were announcing our podcast. And I was curious why they weren't doing a bubble to begin with. Obviously, the NBA didn't do one either, but the NFL looked stupid for not doing one because
what a wreck. That's a disaster.
Because their rosters are just like half done every week because this person has COVID, that person has COVID, and they're using those I don't know what they're called, but those like watches, for lack of a better term, that detect contact tracing. And they're really interesting, and they're really good for a sport like football where you're seeing hundreds of people in a day because there's 53 people on every roster. Mm-hmm. But we were super interested that they weren't doing a bubble, and now Canada is demanding one, but there was absolutely no discussion around US bubbles.
It's such a long season to be away from your family. Like,
Right.
I feel like if you were to do it for like a season that's like, baseball is pretty short. Like, for that, like, yeah, I'd kind of get it. Like, kind of uproot yourself for a few months, but like our season's just so long.
Well, baseball is longer,
like players who are,
but baseball's almost longer.
I don't follow baseball.
That's okay. We don't follow baseball either, really. But it's
but I feel like it's like some of those players, like, they're gonna have to leave the bubble. Like, they're like, the NBA is a good example of what Shannon said. It's like there were people leaving, like their wives were having babies, like their families were going through things. Like, it's just so hard to like separate people. Like, I feel like they
Rask left 2 weeks into the NHL bubble, and it blew for Bruins fans, but you couldn't blame him for his daughter having a family emergency. And what if that happens 5 games into the NHL bubble? Are you supposed to tell him you can't come back? I think the other important thing to think about is that not every, like, just because they're a Canadian team doesn't mean that every person on the team is from Canada.
Right.
Like, most of those people are actually not from Canada. They're from the US, they're from the Czech Republic, they're from Slovenia, whatever. And so you're asking them not only to leave their families, but to not see them for 6 months entirely because they can't leave the country. I also think a lot of the division rebuilds that they did were not even.
They're not
at all.
No.
And it's like, it's easy for us to say because we are on this side, but like, the Metro division has always been a very strong powerhouse.
The
and
Atlantic
now when
also.
Yeah, yes, totally. And now like, everyone's only playing each other. Like, what are records gonna look like? It's like the top teams are gonna kill and the bottom teams are gonna have nothing.
Yep. That was my prediction. That's what we talked about last week. It's like, it's going to be like a huge disparity. It's going to be like top and bottom. And
like the NFL. It's awful.
There's not going to be like any type of like bell curve. It's literally just going to be like chunk, bye.
Yep.
But it's annoying because someone still has to make the playoffs. So like what the NFL is doing right now, like the Washington football team is going to make the playoffs. And granted, I love them, but like they're below 500. They shouldn't be in the playoffs. But it's going to happen with the NHL also because of the way that they broke down the divisions. Like the Atlantic League with the Maple Leafs, the Bruins, and the Lightning has always been historically competitive. But now they're all in different divisions. So
I think we're going to develop new rivalries amongst the teams, though. And I think it could be interesting to see, except if a massacre is happening every time, like the Blackhawks play the Tampa Bay Lightning, if all 8 of our games are just a fucking shit show and we're like getting hammered and the score is like 7-1. I said I was going to be nice talking about my boys this year, but that's really
but
hard
Taves
to
is
do.
out for a long time as of
I-
today, so
I
that's not
know.
going to treat you well.
I know. I'm trying. I was like, I'm not going to be hard on the players because I'm just grateful we have hockey, but like, I'm just being realistic. I think at this point, it's going to be tough. Like a lot of teams, it's going to be really tough and really hard to watch them play a certain team over and over again that they just cannot figure out how to. I mean, prove us wrong, guys. Prove us wrong. Give us a bell curve. Prove us wrong.
And I mean, I said this on the podcast we were on a few weeks ago. Like, I'm kind of looking for like a new wave of teams. Like, it's always been the same teams at the top. It's pretty predictable who's going to end up in the playoffs. But like, could this be an opportunity to give like a team that probably is overlooked in any preseason analysis, like a chance to really rise? And will this kind of like redistribute where the strengths are in hockey? Like, maybe like,
which
but
really
who's to
happened
say?
again in the NFL. Like we did
Mhm.
not expect the Dolphins to do well at all, and they're about to make the playoffs. Obviously in the NHL, it's not more flexible, but the way that they do the playoffs is more flexible than the NHL. Just the way that the divisions work out. So I think that there is a lot of potential for that. And I think, especially, I was on our Twitter earlier, and there was someone that was doing, you guys might have seen it, but it was like a pie chart, and it had everybody's percentage of making the playoffs and then winning the cup. And there were some, like the Canadians, that had the highest percentage. It wasn't the highest. The Lightning obviously had the highest percentage, but the Canadians had like the top three. And I was like, they only made the playoffs last year because of the bubble rule.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really interested to hear why they did that. And then just seeing everybody's new divisional rankings is really interesting. I think a lot of people are sleeping on a lot of different teams.
Yeah. The issue I have with some of those rankings that come out is like, didn't like the last 3 or 4 years have the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup, and like they shit the bed 2 years in a row, and like
they're
then
not
they
a playoff
finally
team.
won it.
Like,
Right. like
Yeah,
I'm
they're
happy
great
they
regular
won it.
season.
Yeah, but it was just kind of like these things don't
they
mean
just happen to
anything.
win a series. Like,
I'm like, this
Yeah, I
doesn't
think-
mean anything, especially in playoff hockey. Like, just it's such a different thing that happens.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, I almost feel like rankings should be based off of not how this past season ended, because it's like half the teams didn't even come back. Not half, but like you know what I mean. But like they didn't come back. No one got to see how they're playing. They're coming in almost a year off. Like, let's see where we were before and just give everyone kind of like some leeway coming in. Like, ranking to me right now almost just seems silly. Like, there's no way to know what's going to happen after a year.
well, not even all of the draftees are signed. I was seeing earlier today that the Senators just signed one of their first round draft picks today, like 3 weeks before the season starts. So
yeah. There's so many different moving parts happening because of all of this, and like what's happening with the ECHL and the AHL, and they're expanding the rosters, I think, for the NHL for teams to carry extra players, like because of the virus. So another positive that we might see is that this might really be a great opportunity for some of the 4th, 5th, 6th lines. I know those don't exist, but like those types of players to actually make it to the show and be able to really do something, because there are a lot of talented NHL quality players, and there's just not enough spots for them on teams, and they might get a chance to make it and to play and to, like you said, like shift some of these teams around and make different teams, you know, at the top and bring up some new blood and some new talent. So
yeah.
What do you think about those older guys that haven't re-signed, that are kind of waiting on what's happening with the NHL? I'm thinking specifically of Chara, but he's not the only one, that, you know, are trying to figure out, should they sign again? What's happening with the NHL? Like how many people are they going to carry? How many roster spots are they going to have? You know, things like that.
I mean, I think it depends on the person. You know, there's certain guys who can't imagine doing anything without hockey in their life, you know, like, I mean, Joe Thornton signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, I mean, like what? Like that was such a strange decision. Did he do it for the money? Does he really need the money, or does he really just want to play and still make a lot of money?
Well, yeah, so Chara said he was contacted by 20 teams, but he only wants to be with the Bruins. I know that Thornton said he only wanted to be with the Sharks.
Right.
So it's interesting how he ended up in Toronto.
I mean, I think there's a lot of things said. I mean, like, look at Tavares and like the Islanders and that whole thing when that went down. I mean, I think they have to play a certain political game. But I mean, if you're of a certain age and if you can still play and you don't care about the politics or whatever, then you're a Joe Thornton and you just keep playing and you like, you don't care. You just want to keep playing and you love what you do. But I think a lot of guys are going like, oh, this is just too much. Like, I've got a family, I've got a wife. I don't want to deal with all of this. My salary's delayed. My bonuses are delayed. The percentages are lower. Is the league going to survive? What's going to happen? Am I even at some point they just go like, fuck it, I'm done, but you can't blame them. I hope Chara stays. Like, he's got it in him. So, unless he's got some personal things that we obviously don't hear a lot about in the NHL, like off ice with the players, like what's really going on. You don't know, but I wouldn't fault them.
Yeah.
Would you be mad if Chara was like, nope, I'm done, I'm hanging him up?
No, I think it's his time to hang him up, quite honestly. I think he did an amazing job mentoring Charlie McAvoy, so that McAvoy is ready to take on a top defensive role. I think the worst thing that's happening is the bottom defensemen aren't ready to move up. Mm-hmm. And we lost Torrey Krug, which was a huge gap.
Yeah.
And to the Blues of anyone.
I know. I don't know. Breezy, do you have any thoughts on that? Megan?
I just feel like Chara specifically, like, with a guy that has that much heart and soul and means so much to a team, like, I don't think that he's just going to sign with like anybody. I feel like he himself will need to sign with a team that he feels like he can have like his footprint in there where he can continue to have like the heart and soul of the team. Does it mean he maybe is just a free agent for a year and then maybe sees how the season goes and then kind of picks up in the following season? Maybe that's for him. I don't know. But I think when it comes down to players like Chara, it's more than just like a money thing. It's more of like, what position is he going to hold on like the locker room standpoint? And I think that has a lot to do with it.
And I respect that a lot. I'm not saying he has to hang up his skates. I think I only want him to do it. I guess the Bruins offered him tentatively. Obviously, I do not know this. I'm not Don Sweeney, but I guess they offered him like 10 or 15 minutes plus like, crucial plays with like a key locker room role. And he wasn't ready to accept that yet. I don't know if he wasn't ready to like say he wasn't playing top minutes anymore or if it was something else in terms of money. But I guess he wasn't ready to say he didn't want top minutes anymore, which is kind of frustrating because he's not able to play top minutes anymore.
I agree with that. I don't think that he's capable of doing top minutes anymore. I think that he needs to simmer down a little bit, but still hold his structure. But I don't know.
Exactly. There's not a lot of guys that tall. So like,
yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's hard when you get to like this point in your career and you're just kind of like having to accept that point, especially in such a weird time where it's like, well, maybe if I kept playing, like it would have been different. Like, but it comes to a point where it's like, are you ready to accept it? Maybe not. And like kind of Breezy, like you said, like maybe take a year off and like see what happens, like train again, like take the time. But I feel like there's like such endless possibilities right now for like so many players where it's like, this could be the year that they just kind of don't have it in them to play the sport anymore.
Well, that happened with like, obviously not NHL, but like the Patriots lost half their defense because everyone was like, we don't need COVID. We're not dealing with it. And that could happen to any of the Stanley Cup contender teams that they're like, no bubble, like no play. I'm not doing it.
I don't think you can compare the NFL and the NHL in any capacity, but the NFL makes 20 million times more money than the NHL players do. And I don't really think the NHL gives these guys an opportunity to really say no. Like they have the opportunity, of course, to opt out of play and not do things, right? Like they legally have to give them that opportunity, but the flip side of it is that they don't get paid.
They don't get paid.
And like when you're in the NFL and if you've made 30 million in the last 3 years, well, you can then just say, fuck you, that's plenty of money. And you can just say like, whatever, I'm not playing this year. I'll keep training. And if you want me back, whatever. But when you're making 3 million and you've got a family and whatever, I think it's a little bit different. And I also think the quality of players, not to shit on the NFL, but like, I think the NHL is still like, it's still secluded, I think, from the big money and the big television rights where the guys who play just love to play and they are just like happy to be there. And like, they're willing to risk whatever they have to make their money and hope that it's just one more season of this. And then like, we can get back to, how we used to do it. But I don't know. That's
I
my
totally
2
agree.
cents. I definitely am biased because I'm,
You're the hockey lady.
Right. I'm like hockey all day. But I mean, realistically, there's, there a lot more money in the NFL to make you a lot easier to be like, fuck COVID, fuck you all. I'm not stepping foot on the field. I'll skip a season. I think there's a little bit, and it's anyway.
Yeah, one of my first articles with Belly Up was actually on, it was right when the NFL was restarting and how it was idiotic of them not to do a bubble or more protocols because the NHL and the
just
NBA
talk
caused so
about
much
protocols.
success.
They had like no protocols
before
the season
so I wrote a whole
started.
article on that.
Yeah.
And then I've had like other articles about how the NHL players have so much more temperament and maturity compared to the NBA and others because it's not surrounded by money and it's surrounded by playing the game and things like that. So it is. And that's one of the reasons that I think Meg and I chose to talk about hockey and not something else is because you can genuinely talk about the sport and genuinely talk about teams without having to get into
the drama.
Why won't like Kyrie Irving talk to the media or why are we debating who dunked on who in X play? Like it's not the same in terms of drama as other sports.
Yeah, there's drama. We don't hear about it. They still, keep things close. And I think what the real difference and what we've seen throughout our guests, both on the women's side of hockey and men's, is that like it's a true team sport still, hockey. Like, in the NFL, there's, all the special teams, there's the O-line, the D-line, and they all sort of like stick with each other. And there's 50 whatever of them. There's a smaller amount of guys. You still have to play hockey as a team. There's no one single star. I mean, if there is, you're not winning Stanley Cups. You're not going places. You can't have just one star on your team. That's not how hockey works. So I think that also makes things a little different for the guys to make a decision. I'm going to shut up. I feel like I was on a soapbox there with Shannon. Shannon and I were on our soapbox about
I'm sorry. I love to talk.
I know, me too. We were like in our zone and you guys are gracious enough to just let it vomit all over the podcast.
Fine. Yeah. So who are your guys'
Bachelor, so.
Yes, exactly. All right. So who are your guys' hockey hunks?
Tom Wilson.
You said that so quickly. I have to think.
I'll take Jake Gensel too. I'll take him too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say, although he's not my hockey hunk, I think Brad Marchand gets a bad rap. He's actually very good looking, but he's not my hunk.
Are you sure you want to go with that answer?
Tyler Seguin.
Okay.
I'll say Tyler Seguin because I'm not over the trade from 2015.
Okay. Who are your guys' favorite hockey ladies?
I mean, I love the Letang family as a whole. Like, I just think like him, his wife, his kids, like they're just like a nice unit. Like I'll always be biased towards the Pens for anything, but yeah, I just love them as a whole.
Okay.
I know that when the women's hockey team, USA women's hockey team, last went to a major tournament, Phil Kessel's sister was very much in the media, and she was hilarious. And I forgive me, I can't remember her first name.
Is it Amanda?
Is it Amanda?
Yeah.
She is absolutely hilarious. So I would say her.
Speaking of hilarious Kessel things, have you ever tried to watch him get over the boards?
Phil Kessel?
Not because he can't. Because he can't. My dad and I will, like, if he comes on, like, obviously before he left, we would like watch when he's like going around and we're like, Daddy's going, he's doing, and then he goes through the door and I'm like, no, like I have my camera ready. But it's like, you see those videos of like goalies who like can't get their pads over when they like pull the goalie. No, that's like him always. He's just like, my last leg is flailing, I don't know where I am.
I mean, he's not a like graceful dude.
No, he's very tiny, like, well, not like tiny, but like short and just like can't do it.
Funny. Okay, Breezy, you're laughing. You're just like imagining him not making.
I'm just like, no. All I have in my head is like imagining like a hamster getting over the boards.
Yes, like, that's such a good analogy.
Like his legs and arms are too short and the body is too long.
He has like a back leg like kicking. Like, come on. Oh no.
God. Our last question is, do you have a Sidney Crosby story?
I mean, my first jersey was a Crosby. It fits like less than half of me now. I was like 10 when I got it. Oh my God, I feel like I don't even have like a special one. Like, I just like get so much Crosby hate and they're like, oh my God, Crosby. And I'm like, listen, like you can hate all you want, but like, look at the statistics. Like, just don't be bitter.
Shannon, do you have a Sidney Crosby story?
Not really. There was one day I was in college and my other Penguins best friend, because I apparently hang out with too many Pittsburgh fans, found the Capitals were playing the Penguins in a playoff series and there were game day tickets that were pretty cheap and she has a Penguins Crosby jersey. So we went to the game and I wore this jersey actually because it was like a neutral color. It wasn't at least the blatant Bruins colors. And I got heckled the entire time and she got hit on the entire time because she had a Crosby jersey on. So that's the closest I'm going to come to, but I'm not a huge Crosby gal.
No.
In terms of stories. Like Connor McDavid, a lot of people have stories for, and he's like, who the freak is an Oilers fan? So like
exactly. Exactly. But anyway, we'll tell everybody where they can listen to your podcast, the name, where they can follow you on social, and yeah. So we are Slapshot Sweethearts. Our first episode is coming out on New Year's Eve, and you can listen to us on Spotify. We are waiting for our approval for Apple Podcasts. We are on YouTube. And then you can follow us on Instagram at Slapshot Sweethearts and then on Twitter at @SweetheartsPod for any additional information. So, awesome. Well, congrats. Any teasers of like what people can expect from the show and guests and that kind of thing?
Yeah,
we're definitely gonna
Go ahead, Meg.
Go ahead. I was gonna say we're definitely gonna build on our mascot conversation that's been going on. We got a little response from the New Jersey Devil. They may not like our opinion, but
they don't think that I find them creepy. It's fine.
They're very uninterested in that opinion.
We're looking to get someone from Nesson who hosts the Bruins to come on in a couple weeks. So we're trying to finalize that. But otherwise, we're just looking to kind of connect with the hockey Twitter family and see where we can get involved. So anybody DM us, literally slide into our DMs looking to chat with everyone.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming over to our House of Hockey podcast and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media. Just look for House of Hockey podcast. We'll be back next week.